I am Janis. I am the owner of Queen City Yarn. Started the company along with my best friend in 2016. We started Queen City Yarn. Just as a creative outlet. We started Queen City Yarn not as a business. It was a fun girls' night to get together, open a bottle of wine, throw some yarn or color on yarn, and then from there it just kind of grew into a business. We launched the company with 8 colorways and still have all 8 of them to this day. Queen Charlotte, Ryan Yayo, which was named after Kristen's son. We had World's Fair was a colorway. Medium Roast was one of the first colorways. And then Blue Topaz was one of them, and I couldn't tell you what the 6th one was. I guess there was 8. So yeah, it was 4 hand paints and 4 tonals. Our whole company from the very beginning has been about creating hand paints and then coordinating tonals. So the booth is actually set up, so the coordinating tonal is set up either above or below the hand paint. So that was the whole start of the business. So when we launched with those first 8 colors, it was 4 hand paints and 4 tonals. Our new base is incredibly scrumptious. It is our Coleman, and it is a silk linen blend. So it's a 65% silk, 35% linen, and the softness and the squish just can't be described. Once you feel it in the skein and you're like, ooh, this is good, and then you feel the swatch and the samples that we have in the booth, and yeah, you're addicted. Yeah, so our website is queencityyarn.com. We have all of our colorways there, all of our information's there. Kristen and I also do pattern design. Those are available on our website. And then we are on Instagram as Queen City Yarn. Kristen is currently working on a pattern for Coleman. So that'll be out soon. And then we are already gearing up for Advent. So the next thing on both of our design schedule is a pattern for that last day of the Advent kit. Have you ever seen a Hallmark holiday movie? There's your theme.
So I'm Jeanne from Destination Yarn. I do hand-dyed yarn inspired by travel. So I started dyeing yarn. I was an avid knitter, and I started dyeing just kind of for fun. And then for Christmas that year, I dyed a whole bunch of yarn for different people. And at the same time, I went on a trip to Peru. And I was like looking at all of these colors outside the train window, and I was knitting, and I was like, I want these colors to be here. So I started experimenting with that, and just kind of started going from there. So yeah. So it's been over 10 years. It was 2009 that I started. So yeah, and it, slowly. I also have 3 kids, and I started this when my daughter was, very, very, very little. So there were, fits and starts there in the beginning, but now it's my full-time job. So yeah. Before I did this, I was an architect, and so place was always very important to what I would do and, how I designed, and I wanted that to be with the yarn and as part of the yarn, and that's still just kind of how my brain works, that I think about places and spaces. Okay, so when I go somewhere for a show, I like to dye that place. It's like my favorite thing to do for a show. It helps me get excited about going to that destination, and it's just really fun. So for this destination, since we were in Maryland, I had this colorway. This is called Toes in the Sand. And it's just this like really classic and simple colorway. It knits up beautifully, works up beautifully, of like sand and shore. And I dyed this after a trip to Ocean City years ago. So I knew I wanted this to be a part of whatever I was gonna do. So this was kind of my jumping off point. And then I'm taking a watercolor class because it's good to be creative in different ways. And our most recent class project was to paint a blue crab, a Maryland blue crab. So, well, I'm about to go to Maryland, so I started playing around with dyeing the things that I was painting, and I dyed the blue crab colorway. And I love this. It's super fun. It's got lots of like little speckles and like bits of yellow, like the little crabs, they've got like grays, and it's all layered and interesting and fun, but this didn't feel like a wow enough for me for a show colorway. So I started, with this as my color palette, I started playing with kettle dyeing and bringing those colors in a richer way. And so from there, I dyed Chesapeake Bay, which is all the deep, rich browns and almost golds and blues and things that you would find in the Bay. So that's my set for Maryland, which is kind of fun. And that's kind of how my creative process works too. So, yeah. Sure, yeah, I'm destinationyarn.com, Destination Yarn on Instagram. I have lots of fun things coming up. I'm doing a summer book club that's gonna be really fun. So yeah, that's what I do.
My name is Nia Miles, and I am the owner and dyer at the Crochet Cove. So that's, We started in February of 2019. Sort of just opened a website, decided I wanted to dye yarn, taught myself, and went from there. Well, interesting story. I was a federal employee and we were furloughed. And after about 3 weeks, I started getting a little nervous, and I was like, how am I going to provide for my kids and stuff? So I had always been interested in learning how to dye yarn. So I bought a kit and taught myself. Everything. Really, I've gone through changes of how to brand the company and things like that. And at one point, we would call it like life-inspired yarn, right? So I'm gonna just grab something really quick. I'm gonna grab two things really quick, just to sort of illustrate the process. So this color here is called April Showers, and the colors, we named it because of the colors in here. You have a little yellow, you have some gray, you have some blue, and it's sort of, that April weather. It's very the beginning of spring, so it's the lighter colors that you get as you're getting into the warmer months. And also, it just felt very springy and alive to us. And so that's one thing, just sort of the seasons. Another color here, this is Earth's Majesty, and this one was inspired by sort of like that outer space view of the earth. So you have all of the greens and the blues here and things like that. So sometimes I'll, get inspired from something I see on TV or something I'm reading, the seasons, holidays, all of that. So I started in the yarn crafts as a crocheter. My grandma initially taught me when I was like 9 or something, and then I picked it back up in 2011 when I was pregnant. And the Crochet Cove actually began as an Instagram place for me to share my crochet work without like sort of inundating my friends and family on my other social media pages. And so when it came time to start the business, I liked the name, and I actually put a lot of thought into it, so I just kept it and went forward with that. So the Yarn and Yum box is it's my test into the world of subscription boxes. So each month you get 100 grams of yarn, or at least 100 grams of yarn, and some other little trinkets, and another either self-care or tool of the trade. So for instance, we've done stitch markers, we've done loose leaf tea. The May box that just went out this past week, we did a hand cream, a luxurious hand cream, and a skein of yarn. So it's so far it's been going pretty good. I think I've received all positive feedback. So we're looking forward to kind of continuing and coming up with some new items down the road. Oh, a lot. Okay, so let's start with, I am wearing the mini skein merriment shawl. So this pattern, the designer it was released through Cerulean Orchid. It is a 10 skein mini and 1 full skein pattern. I do kits for it in the shop, and this is the Brights colorway. So it includes some of my brighter colors, and then the neutral in here is called Lullaby. I'm wearing my logo tee, which are also available on the website. It's just a really fun, I get a lot of positive feedback about my logo, and so I wanted to just throw some t-shirts out there. And then I am also wearing the Kima Cardi by Tony Lipsy, and I crocheted this in Knit Picks Bravo Bulky. So yes, trying to stay warm out here. Okay, so if you want to follow me on IG, I am at the Crochet Cove, and the website, very simple, thecrochetcove.com.
Sure. My name is Laura Regan. I'm the owner and indie dyer of Created For You by Laura. So I started it 7 or 8 years ago, actually as a knitting sample shop, and then we got into dyeing. So my husband's a chef by trade, so it's something we're doing together as a later in life career. So he actually does a lot of the dyeing. So he mixes and he comes up with his colorways, and then that's how. So it's a later in life career decision. We like vibrant colors, obviously, if you look at everything that we have. We just like to see what happens. So we each skein is a blank canvas for us. So I was a vendor there for many years, and then the owner, through COVID, had to cancel it. She was a little bit older, decided she wanted to get out of it, and I didn't want to see that festival go away. I think it's very important for the fiber community to have lots of options. So I approached her to take it over. Last year was my first year in the COVID. It was okay. We're doing it again this year in August, and we hope to expand it and do some different things with it. So I am at Created, the number 4, the letter U by Laura on Instagram, Facebook.com is my website. We're running a contest throughout the year. Every Monday we put up clues for an album from the 70s that we're basing our colorways on. So you got to follow me on Instagram. June, they've already guessed. It's Journey Evolution, but we'll start again in July, and you'll win a skein if you guess the right album. So follow me.
Thank you for your time, and we appreciate you watching this video. To learn more, visit flocksy.com.